Okay, so what if we want to create some musical ideas quick in Cubase and we want to write some music, maybe edit a little bit, name it, and then quickly move on to a new musical idea, maybe in a different key or something. How can we go about doing that? And so what I have set up here in Cubase is one track, Noir Piano, VST. And I'm not using scalar today because I had to redo this video because I found out that scalar was, for some reason, I can't use scalar with retrospective recording, so I couldn't use it as the input on my Noir piano. And I'm not sure if it's because of the audio detection, which I turned off anyway, but I don't know if it's just on my end or maybe that'll be fixed in an update. But so for today, instead, I went to MIDI inserts, and I hooked up a transformer. So if you hit the plus key, you get to this option, transpose to scale, and I just set it to C major, but you can change the keys to and the scale how you need to change it. So it kind of acts like a mini scaler just to keep you in scale and key. So you go back here, having that hooked up. If you want to use the retrospective record, which is this little button down here, and I just emptied the buffer, that's why it grayed out. Basically what it does is it's always recording audio in the background. It keeps you from always having to use the record button, which can be a little stressful because oftentimes, you hit the record button and you go to your instrument and you kind of freeze up, like it's like you have to, perform, and then you have to turn off the record button, and it's kind of a, kind of a stiff way to work. But I find this workflow a lot better, where, you simply drag out your cycle record marker to, I like to use maybe 5 or 8 bars. And I'll turn on cycle button. So the purple button up here is on. You've dragged out your marker here. And if you turn on your playhead, just let Cubase play, it'll cycle between the marker here, these two markers. And that's great. And so now, since we have that turned on, retrospective will record in cycle mode also, not just recording linear in the background. So that means that I can just get my playhead going by using a hotkey and go to the keyboard and start to noodle around. Now I can wait till it cycles around and then that could be my first kind of idea. Cycles around. And of course you make mistakes and stuff, but the idea is you can just cycle record over and over. So once you've finished getting your idea down, you quickly turn off the playhead, go to the beginning. You see that retrospective has lit up because it has audio in its buffer, or it's recorded MIDI in its buffer, I should say. And if we click on it now, we have 3 options. Insert as a linear recording, insert as cycle recording, and empty the buffer. So if we hit the first one, it will bring it out as one long recording, so one long passage. If I hit cycle, insert as cycle recording, it will bring in all the cycle stacks or layers. So let's do the cycle recording. So we bring it in. We see all the notes here, kind of a mishmash of all the notes, but don't worry. As soon as you click on the element here, it will go to its last layer. But the first layer, I don't know if we played anything. We just played something just towards the end, so we will not worry about that. We'll go to second layer, and we have a musical idea, so we'll listen to it. And And so we kind of like this idea, but we've messed up some notes over here, which we may want to change. But let's just look at, see this little tab here. So I click on the little tab and go to the next one. And again, we have another musical idea. And we could change these notes that we kind of messed up. But just for the sake of staying focused, let's go to the tab again and say we like this musical idea. We can get rid of all the other stacks of layers here by remove overlaps. Hit that button, and now we have just this one nice little chunk of MIDI here, and we can trim it off and just say, okay, we want to cut it there, we want to cut it there, and we can delete that, and we can delete that, and send playhead to the beginning. And not only do we have our musical idea here, but it's so easy to edit with this system because it was played in C major, but it could have been played in any key, right, as we set this. And also we have our chord track set to C major. So if this is also set to chord track, showing our visual chord track helper here, you could have it on velocity or you could any one of these channels, but chord track will tell us that these green notes are in the key and the scale. The blue notes are just in the scale, and if we say we move one that's out of scale here to red, that's out of, but that doesn't mean that it's not a good note for this particular musical passage. You'll find that sometimes the red notes just in the right place will add just the right amount of spice and make your musical idea really quite good instead of just being kind of bland. So you never want to just take all your music and just make them all green notes, because that's playing way too safe and you're never going to get some really great ideas. But it is a guide, and if we listen to this, so this note can be deleted, and we may want to change this note, but we do have a guide to help us with ideas that may be more in the scale. So it's a good guide to help you when you're editing your, we probably just get rid of that. But it's a great way to help you change your musical idea and edit afterwards without straying too far, if you have that all set up. So you can quickly then just make sure this is selected, your element here, and go up to here where you can change it to like idea 1, the key of C major, hit return, and it will give that name and your information about your key and scale, and just drag it to the side where you can just stack them and instantly go back, clear your buffer. And there, I should mention also that instead of going to this button and then hitting empty record buffer, which you can do, and now it's grayed out, which means the buffer's empty and you can do a whole new stack recording. But if you go to your edit button and key commands, and if you write in something like buffer and hit, it should try to find it, and you find MIDI retrospective record empty. So it's going to empty all your buffers and just set up a hotkey. Mine is T, and that works well. So if I was to quickly just do another musical, and now you see the buffer is full, and I just hit T and it's empty. So you can quickly write something and edit and name it, and then just drag it to the side. And that's what I've been doing today. And to help you edit, you have your guides because you have your chord track. And if scalar, this issue, I'm not sure if it's on my end or if it's just a little quirk with why it's interfering with that. If somebody knows, you can comment on the video. You can just, if you figured out why retrospective isn't working with scalar, I don't know. Like I say, it might be on my end. I don't know what that issue is. But so today, that's what I was doing, just making a bunch of musical ideas. And these are some of the ideas I came up with. And you see some of these red notes here. They often add a lot of spice and make it bland idea into something better. So those are some ideas. Often when I'm writing, I will set up my keyboard so that I have some nice chords to start with, and then I'll use retrospective to just record it in. I'll make some edits, hopefully that are working for the idea with the chord track, and that way it just helps me to work quicker. So that's the video on retrospective record. It's very simple. It works in the background, and if you want to set it up to cycle, all the better. And if you want to set it up with a chord track to help you make edits after you record, that's even better. So thanks for watching the video, and we will see you on the next one.